Welcome back to Absolutely the Best Podcast, a work in progress. I'm Zach, and with me today is my good friend George.
Hey.
This is Series 1, Episode 39, and today we are talking about The Marvels from November 11th, 2013. After we discuss the movie, we'll figure out where to place it in our MCU movie ranking, and our mission to figure out which one is absolutely the best. As a reminder, we assume the listener has seen the movie before, and of course, there will be spoilers. I got a little bit of a cold thing going on, so you might notice a change in my voice here.
Got your radio voice going?
Yeah, for once we timed it right. It's not just nasally, not more nasally. I do have some clarifications. I'm not going to call them corrections. When we were talking about Thunderbolts and we got to the ranking, and I might have said something a little hyperbolic about it being one of the highest rated. It's not, and if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores, if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes ranking, like they have a list of the MCU movies by score basically. But but they only go with the critics scores, like not even top critics scores, but just regular critics scores.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at that, then Thunderbolts at the time that I looked at it, which is probably a week ago at this point, and that might change over time, but at the time it was number 14.
Oh, wow.
But I started looking at it, and yeah, like for one, they only look at the top critics. So sometimes the critics hate it, but then the audience likes it. And I feel like you need to take that into account, right? But it's also kind of fucked because Shang-Chi and Homecoming are both at 92%, but Homecoming is ranked higher. Why? I don't know. I had more reviews. Maybe that was it. But I'm like, I don't know.
I like our ranking of those two better.
Yeah. Well, I still, we might have put Homecoming higher. I don't remember.
Did we?
But
I thought we put Shang-Chi higher.
I could check real quick. We have Shang-Chi at 10, Homecoming at 7.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Homecoming was the first one, yeah. So,
Homecoming is the first one. I was thinking about the third one that we didn't like as much.
No. I guess my point was like they have the same score. Why is Shang-Chi the lower one? So I don't know. Right. I just thought that was kind of stupid. But then if you average, like if you take the top critics, all critics, sometimes you have all audience and verified audience. Sometimes it's just all audience. But if you average those, then the top movie is No Way Home. Then Shang-Chi, then Endgame, Black Panther, Iron Man, then Thunderbolts, just above Ragnarok. But it kind of depends on if it has 4 scores to average. You know, do you average just the 3 because other ones only have 3, or do you average all 4? Right. And it changes a little bit if you do that. Not that big a deal. Anyways, big long side tangent. So it is. I think it is higher rated than number 14, but it is not like top 3 or whatever. Which I think I kind of made it sound like.
You really liked it.
I did really like it. It was good. I don't think it's going to be top 3 for me on rewatch, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to that one at least. Then another clarification when we were talking about, I think it was during the ranking discussion, we were talking about that Ragnarok went below Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And you're like, I'm still butthurt about that. So I re-listened to the episode. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm more butthurt because I probably felt like I wanted to like it more, but on rewatch of Ragnarok and then talking about it, I realized, oh, maybe it's not as good as I remember it being.
I'm glad you said that because I re-listened to the episode and that's pretty much what you said at the end of it, and you agreed that it would be below Ragnarok. So
I just remember laughing so much during Ragnarok.
I mean, it's definitely got funny moments, and I feel like a lot of them hold up.
Yeah.
Anyways, so let's get on to the Marvels. Do you want to go first on?
Do we have to?
I don't think that this is the worst movie that we are going to be dealing with.
No, but not by far. To be fair, it's not Quantumania.
Certainly not.
I mean, I guess initial impressions, when I first heard of the Marvels, I was like, ooh, an actual, like a full-on team up in the MCU that isn't the Avengers. Um, well, I guess Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That was kind of a oh no, Spider-Man 3. That was kind of a team up of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Uh, but I was pretty happy just I think hearing of another team up of Marvel of former or I guess yeah Marvel in name characters. I really like Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, and I also really like I can't remember her name right now. Kamala Khan,
Yeah.
the actress that plays Kamala Khan. Like
She's
I
great.
adored like how infectious she just is, just
She's
how
really
happy she
funny
is.
for a kid.
Yeah, she steals all the scenes she's in. I think, and she's probably one of the best parts of the movie for me.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, and I enjoyed the TV show, and I think you kind of need to see have seen the TV show to
Hmm.
understand to the series at least to understand like I think why she has such a fascination for Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but I also liked the Monica Rambeau who comes from WandaVision.
Hmm.
But I don't think you necessarily needed to see WandaVision to really understand her backstory because I was like, oh,
No,
I walked through a portal and
yeah,
then I got
especially
my
because,
powers.
yeah, she pushed through that witch hex or whatever, and then
Yeah.
that was kinda it. They didn't really show her have any powers at the end of it. So,
Nope. They didn't even explain why she kept her powers.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And in the comic books, she's really badass. So I was actually really interested to see how they were gonna represent her power set in the MCU, plus the just the interaction with Captain Marvel, who for I guess whatever reason she's really butthurt about in this movie. I mean, we know the reason as
Yeah.
we watch after we watch it, but she starts off the movie as really butthurt the first half of the movie,
Yeah.
and then Captain Marvel, who also looks like she has a chip on her shoulder for something that she didn't that something that she did that she goes into later on in this movie.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, the MCU has been in a bit of a slump since Endgame, and I was really hoping that this would knock it out of that slump. It had Shang Chi and a few others that kind of were like little bumps in quality, but nothing ever got up to the
Nothing's
Endgame.
yeah, nothing's getting
I
into
don't even
the
know if
"It's
anything's
you
gonna get to
again."
Endgame, right? What's
I
coming up?
I don't know. I don't think it's possible. I just
Yeah,
don't. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but
I'm hoping the next Avengers movie. Who knows? Maybe Doomsday will really blow us away.
I think that's the only shot we have. I'm not expecting it to be
Yeah,
better or as good as or even approach Endgame, but I'm hoping that it's
Fantastic
good.
Four. I'm hoping Fantastic Four is
Maybe.
different in its
Yeah,
own way. And yeah,
possibly.
I was really hoping that this was going to be one of the movies that brought it out of that slump a little bit
Yeah.
because it looked
I
fun.
There was the potential for
Yeah,
sure. So, I saw it in the theater. I was like you, I was pretty excited to see it. I liked all the characters. Saw the show, liked the first Captain Marvel movie, and I like Monica in WandaVision. And then I remember being pretty disappointed. I mostly remember that stupid singing scene, which it's
I
not
hate
quite that
that
simple,
planet.
but yeah we can get into that when we get to it. So I was a little bit dreading this rewatch. I did already own it, but I don't recall actually watching it a second time. Maybe I just bought it to be a completionist. But it's only an hour and 45 minutes. So I was like, how bad can it be? And, not as bad as I remember. There's still some issues, perhaps many.
Just a little.
Yeah. And I did watch it with the commentary by co-writer and director Mia DaCosta and VFX
Mm.
supervisor Tara DeMarco. It's an okay commentary. It was mostly about the shots and the effects, but it wasn't them just patting each other on the back the whole time, which some of the worst commentaries we've had are.
It wasn't as bad as the Quantum Mania
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
behind the scenes commentary.
Where they're just basically making fun of their own movie. But there was some interesting tidbits of information throughout in the commentary, so we will discuss those as they present themselves.
Sweet. Let's
Okay,
do it.
let's get on to the credits. The Marvels is the 33rd movie in the MCU series. It was written by Nia DaCosta, Megan McDonnell, and Alyssa Karasik. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Nia DaCosta, she directed it and co-wrote Candyman in 2021. That's the Jordan Peele produced one, which I thought was pretty good.
Oh, I didn't see it.
It's pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of the original Candyman movies, so I don't know if that's supposed to be. Like, I don't know if people. I don't remember if people were like, "Oh, why do I got to remake everything?" I think it was pretty well received.
I just remember
So
that
as were the
the
first
main
ones.
actor, that the main
Yeah,
Candyman
yeah,
actor, Todd. I can't remember
yes.
his last name.
Last name is Todd. Tony Todd.
Tony Todd. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
Yeah,
he's he's
R.I.P. That guy
he's
was awesome.
very imposing.
I want to see the new Final Destination movie. I kind of just want to see it anyway, but I really want to see it
Is
because
he
I
in
think
it?
that's his last movie. Yeah, I think that was a lot. That
Oh
might be his
man.
last movie. It's definitely his last Final Destination movie. But
Oh wow.
anyways, so Mia DaCosta also directed this movie. Megan
Yeah.
McDonnell was a writer on WandaVision, Agatha All Along, and the upcoming Vision Quest. And
Hmm.
then Alyssa Karasik was a writer on Loki.
Those are some good credits
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
writers.
I I,
Kind of
I
surprised by the turnout.
feel a little bit like maybe there was some studio executive what's the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for, finagling,
Interference.
meddling.
They Fantastic Forward it.
Yeah, the first remake. So anyways, it was directed by Nia DaCosta. Main characters, quick recap on the repeats. Captain Marvel, played by Carol Danvers. Sorry, Captain Marvel / Carol Danvers, still played by Brie Larson. She's still great. Samuel L. Jackson reprises his role as Nick Fury. I think that's it for repeats that we've talked about.
I don't know. I don't feel like Samuel L. Jackson brought his actual Nick Fury to this. I was
No,
very
he
I
was
was
a
very kind
little,
of caught off guard by the Nick Fury this time around.
laid back.
I mean, he doesn't seem very concerned about anything. Like even
No,
shooting a blaster in a space elevator
that's
seems
a good
like a
point. Yeah.
par for the course.
New cast includes Tiana Paris as Monica Rambeau. Monica is Maria's daughter from the first movie. She's all grown up, and she was in WandaVision, but we didn't really discuss that in detail. I like her character, and she was also in Candyman 2021,
Hmm.
which Nia DaCosta directed. And have you ever seen They Cloned Tyrone?
No,
Oh, that's pretty good.
is it good? Is
Yeah,
it?
it's just so she's in that, and who's the main character? It's the guy. I can't think of his name in the new Star Wars trilogy. Black dude.
Ah, uh, I know who you're talking about. I love that guy. He's funny.
Yeah, it was right on the tip of my tongue. I should have wrote that one down, but I was like, no, I'll remember it when it comes time to record. John Boyega.
Yeah,
Yes. Anyway, so where was I? Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan / Miss Marvel. I enjoyed her in the Miss Marvel show, and I think
same.
she provides a lot of the humor here.
They should have kept it at her.
What do you mean? Oh,
I feel
just
like
her?
yeah, they should have just because she was a kid in a candy store. She was joining the Marvel universe. She was within her rights to be fascinated and excited to be joining the big leagues, and it just seemed like everybody was joining the big leagues for the first time.
Yeah, I feel like they were like, we need a Captain Marvel sequel, but also Miss Marvel needs her own show, and we should really
Yeah,
do something with Monica Rambeau.
yeah,
And then they were just like, "Hey, here's an idea," and I think they could have made it work, but it just didn't.
yeah.
So Zawe Ashton plays Dar-Ben, the main antagonist. I don't know her from anything else, really. Have you seen her in anything before? I don't know.
No, I think the only I mean I first heard of her when I think I saw an article that said Tom Hiddleston's fiance was going to be in the MCU, and I was like, eh.
Oh, are they married?
I think that I don't know. I haven't double checked to see if they were actually married, but
Okay.
she's been in a few other things like period pieces, I think, but nothing that I've caught.
All right. Let me see. Now I'm curious though. Let's see. Oh yeah, she is engaged to Tom Hiddleston. Interesting. Did not know that.
Cool.
Anyways, that's pretty much it for the main cast. There's some smaller parts and cameos, but we'll discuss that as they
Mm.
become relevant. So let's get on to the main discussion. Opening scene, it's outer space. It's why do I have outer space? Like there was an echo. It's we're in outer space, and a cruise ship goes through a jump point to get to the barren planet of MB 418. And there, the Kree crew excavate a site to unearth some sort of vambrace, which I bet you didn't think we were going to use that word again so soon. Supremer Darben, the Kree leader, seems pleased with the vambrace's power, but they were forged as a pair, so she needs to find the other one. Of note here, right off the bat, the commentary points out something I somehow missed. The dying sun.
Yeah.
I don't know why that. Like I saw a sun, I just didn't occur to me that was Hala's son that was dying there. I thought it looked cool though.
Yeah, I didn't connect that. Actually, I didn't connect anything about the dying sun until like 3/4 of the way, where Monica was like, "Oh yeah, you can totally jumpstart a sun.
Right,
Just fly
right,
into it."
yeah,
Because yeah,
yeah. So all right, so I wasn't the only one who missed it. Let's see. Oh, also, I'm pretty sure that that's the first time outside of a Guardians movie that anyone has used a jump point. Right? I haven't seen them elsewhere.
since Guardians 3, probably.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? They might have done it in Infinity War or Endgame. I'm not sure.
They
We don't
did
need to
do it
figure
to
it out.
go find Thanos. They did go through a jump point, I believe, when
Okay.
they were going
Yeah,
to
maybe
get to the planet where Thanos
it
had,
would make sense.
retired.
It would, even if they didn't show it on screen, it would make sense that they
Yeah.
would have had to get there so quickly.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a lot of jump point usage here. It stood out to me. Mild complaints. Darben carries a universal weapon, right? Just like
The
Ronan
hammer.
had. Yeah.
Oh, is that what's called?
And
The universal weapon?
yeah, I had to
Yeah.
look that up. I didn't just know it. But why does her universal weapon do purple shit like it has a power stone in it?
It was one of my gripes.
Ronan's never did that until he put this power stone in it.
Yep.
And I even checked the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and he doesn't really do anything with it other than to smash one dude's face with it like a hammer. And he like uses some kind of weird. There was like this ripple of air came out of it, and it broke the other's neck.
Right.
Yeah,
But
that
why
was
would
it.
you use a hammer for a weapon except to smash someone's face in?
I don't know. Also, MB418, it looks like a barren moon,
Yeah.
but nobody has any trouble breathing. Like nobody's got a helmet on or anything.
That was the first thing I was gonna say. I was like, apparently the Kree just don't need to breathe in space anymore. Because
And,
even in
and
Captain Marvel, they had a little thing cover their
yeah,
face in space.
yeah.
Captain
And
Marvel apparently also doesn't need to breathe in space anymore.
I feel like she was kind of always like that. I give her a
No,
pass, but like the Kree.
yeah.
But yeah, and like also they're talking. You can't do that with no atmosphere. So I have to believe that there's an atmosphere here. But if you have an atmosphere, it refracts light,
Hmm.
and that's not what's happening here. So
And it didn't look like there
science
was no.
break. No, I feel like they should have done something to make it look more like it had an atmosphere. But whatever.
Right.
It turns out that the other Vambrace just so happens to be in use by one Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, currently chilling in Jersey City, New Jersey. If you didn't see the show, she's also a huge Captain Marvel fan. And she's farting around, drawing cartoons of her favorite superhero when her Vambrace does a weird glowy thing and then she disappears. And then we get earlier that day on screen, and that often signals trouble for me. And then it cuts to our girl Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, chilling on her spaceship, which is I guess called the Hoopty. I didn't know that. Picked
Wait,
that up.
where did they actually call it the Hoopty?
I don't know if there's a line of dialogue, but they say something about
Yeah.
it in the commentary.
I love how like the ass end of the ship is just forever open. Just
Yes.
just like a force field or something. So if it ever
Yeah.
runs out of power,
So she's on her ship, and for the casuals watching, she uses the scroll mind fracking device to remember her own movie, so that if you didn't see it, now you're caught up. Marvel has no confidence in their audience. They so I guess they thought that no one saw or remembered Captain Marvel, and that it's critical to know all this. I don't know. It didn't really seem that way. It's kind of a problem with sequels in general. There was one thing that wasn't in Captain Marvel, though. For half a second at the end of that sequence, it's something like there's a big energy blast on the top of a building, and I think
Oh,
that
right.
ends up, yeah, I think that ends up being when she killed the Supreme Intelligence.
Yeah. Before we go too much further, I really like that animated comic book scene when
Oh yeah,
Kamala was drawing.
nice. Yeah.
I thought that was the best part of the opening scene.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I was just like, okay, yeah, it's comics. uh, for context, Goose, the Flurkin, is on the ship with her. Flurkin looks like a cat, if you didn't remember. Fury calls her from the Saber space station where he's been from the Saber space station that he's been running. And he asked if she knows anything about a recent surge in the jump point system. He's traced the origin back to MB418, which Danvers happens to be nearby, so she's off to check that out. Then we see Monica Rambeau doing a spacewalk to fix some shit on the Saber space station. She goes to get a closer look at the nearby jump point that has some residual energy or something. They had some weird description of it. At the same time, Danvers finds a jump point near MB418 that's stuck open. And as Monica reaches out to touch the jump point, for some reason, Miss Marvel is roped in too, and then they all switch places.
I don't get the whole jump point thing. So did Darben just decide I'm gonna fuck this random moon that nobody's at with the barely anything, any
So
climate there
the little bit of
together?
atmosphere, I think she
Yeah,
was.
that pissed her off. Like,
Well, no, I think that she was stealing what little bit of atmosphere there was there.
oh, okay.
I think that's the
The
start of it.
okay. Was that what she was doing this whole time? Just like taking resources from
Oh
different
yeah. So then,
places?
then she steals it from the scrolls like hideout planet, right? She steals the
Yeah, I
atmosphere
got that
there,
part. Yeah,
and then she's taking the water from the
the
Sing
other
Song
place.
planet,
Right.
and then like the plasma from our sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it kind of makes sense, but so now Monica's on MB418. Kamala ends up in space, and Danvers ends up in Kamala's room. By the way, it is Kamala, right? Not Kamala, because
No,
I remember that being it.
I'm not really.
I'm pretty sure they say Kamala in this, and like I think I
Yeah,
mean, from person to person it varies. So I just wanted to make it clear that I'm not trying to purposefully disrespect anyone here by saying
yeah.
Kamala. So where was I? So yeah, Danvers ends up in Kamala's room. That's the stinger for the Miss Marvel TV show, right at the very end, and that just leads into this movie.
Yep.
I think it's weird that their clothes travel with them, but the spacesuit does not, which is fortunate for Kamala.
No, that's true. I totally didn't realize that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also not advocating for them to be naked. I'm just saying, like, their clothes. It seems they figure out later that it's like things that they're touching seem to travel with them because Goose ends up getting dragged along a couple of times, and there's a scene later where
Both Monica's show
uh,
or Monica
Monica
and
and Kamala
Kamala
switch
show. Yeah.
places with Danvers, right? So I think it's like if they're holding on to something, then it also switches. But the spacesuit did not, which is good because otherwise Kamala would be dead.
That was also a funny scene when she is like panicking, then she sees Nick Fury and she's like, "Oh my
Yeah,
god, it's Nick Fury."
yeah. She's funny in general.
Yeah.
Uh, then the three of them switch back pretty quickly thereafter, just as Danvers tries to use her powers to fly away. When she gets switched back to MB418, she's immediately fighting a bunch of Kree. Why are the Kree back there? How did they get there? That didn't make any sense to me because when Kamala is there,
I
like,
don't know.
she's there, nobody else is there. She switches, and then Monica's there for a bit, and then switch back, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of Kree to fight.
Right. And then like Annihilator. And she's like, I don't like that
Yes,
name.
it was kind of like that. And then Goose is with her for some reason, and like he swallows some Kree, and that he barfs them up in Kamala's living room later. So I guess that's why he's there, just to add to the excitement. One of the Kree is dumb enough to tell Danvers it's too late. The Suprema is already on Tarmax, which is apparently where Captain Marvel found a home for the Skrulls to hide out on after the events
Yep.
of her movie. It's the Skrulls refugee colony. I am grateful that despite the lazy screenwriting, it does keep the plot moving for him to just say it's too late. She's already on
Right.
Tarnax.
That's why they were there. Somebody had to tell her where they were.
Right. It just didn't make sense to me, like, other than that.
Right.
So
You stay here in case somebody shows up that needs to know
we
where we are.
we got to keep this plot moving. Yeah.
Right.
So of course they have to go to Tarnax, and so Danvers gets over there really quickly. Suprema Darben is there negotiating with the Skrulls. She claims that Hala is out of time because their son is dying. Recall that Hala is the Kree world, and she very generously offers to relocate the Skrulls so they don't suffocate when she strips the atmosphere from Tarnax. Which was not clear to me how that would help them with their son. She's like, our son is dying. We're going to steal your atmosphere. In the end, I think it turns out that there was multiple failures, and the movie doesn't do a very good job of laying that out.
My notes have her, you know how like she has that whole speech where the Civil War polluted our skies and my people cannot breathe. And I'm like, but you were breathing just fine in space
Yeah,
with it like
it just
next to
just go to
no
space.
atmosphere. Yeah,
Go to space, you'll be
just
fine.
just go back to that moon that you were at.
So their atmosphere is bad. There's a severe drought, and the sun is dying. Which you can blame Carol for the bad atmosphere and the drought, but you can't blame her for the sun dying. So, like, is that just coincidence?
But can you even blame her? So I don't get it. I don't get why people blame her for the drought and for the
Because she
bad
destroyed the supreme
climate.
intelligence, which I guess was taking care of everything.
Oh, I
And
thought that they did that to their own planet. Like they had a civil war, and the civil war was what wrecked
okay,
everything.
even if it is that, they had a civil war because the supreme intelligence was destroyed.
Right.
So,
But then they did it themselves, right?
well, yes, but well, first of all, people are going to blame anybody but themselves. But
Fair,
also,
fair.
but I don't know. I understand it. To me, it makes sense that they blame her, except for the sun going out, because like there's that.
Yeah, that's
That's just a bad coincidence, I guess. I don't know. That seemed to happen pretty rapidly. I guess I was
right.
also thinking, well, maybe the sun was already dying, and then in combination with the bad atmosphere and the drought, it's just completely unlivable, right? The atmosphere is bad. Plants aren't producing enough oxygen anymore. Stuff like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, if only they hadn't fucked up Tarnak and had just moved there.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like there was plenty of space. There's not that many scrolls left.
Right.
So the meeting between the Kree and the Skrulls adjourns, but Danvers runs into a Kree who calls her the Annihilator. And just as she uses her powers to punch him, she switches places with Miss Marvel. And then this leads to a lot of swapping between the three of them whilst fighting and running, etc. I'm not going to bother trying to describe it all. It's not a complaint, but it's confusing enough to watch. So I didn't want to type it all out and read it for 5 minutes or whatever. They switched again. At some point, though, Danvers ends up in a space elevator with Fury, and she catches him up. The stuck jump point was siphoning the atmosphere from MB 418. So there was an atmosphere, right?
Right.
But not refracting light. Of course, while demonstrating something that she did with her powers, she switches again to the Khan household, where all hell is broken loose due to Kamala working there with Goose, who retched up some Kree that had swallowed earlier, thus setting up something stupid and unnecessary for later as well.
They really flirkened this movie.
Oh, yes. Pretty hard.
Yep.
Um, more switch fighting occurs. It's not bad, just again, not worth describing in detail.
Whenever they fought, it was just really annoying to me because if activating your power was what caused the switch, there's zero consistency in how often they switched and what
I
caused them
I
switching.
think it's only if they are activating their powers at the same time. So like if Carol's like
Oh,
trying to fly just as Kamala's doing one of her thingies or whatever, then they'll switch places.
oh, actually, I didn't think about that.
I think they even do later on during their fight, they're practicing like taking turns
Yeah.
so as not to accidentally
Oh,
switch.
okay, that makes sense now. Okay, never mind. There's a whole. I had a whole bunch of gripes about that, and
All right.
that addresses all of them.
Sorry to ruin your notes.
Mm-mm.
um, a couple of things of note. Monica can phase through stuff, I guess, and become intangible.
Yep.
That's your word. I like it. Miss Marvel is a pretty good fighter. I mean, they're all good fighters, but she's like 15, so really, really good for a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Eventually, they figure out that when they use their powers at the same time, they switch places. And there's some entanglement talk later to explain it, which it's kind of dumb, but whatever. That's the premise, and we got to roll with it. After all the fighting is done, Fury and Monica show up at the Khan household, and this is primarily an exposition dump. We learn, let's see, SABRE stands for Strategic Aerospace Biophysics and Exolinguistic Response. And I remember when SHIELD seemed like a stretch. For
Right.
Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division. Fury and Monica have been keeping an eye on Kamala Khan. Kamala, Monica, and Carol are all electromagnetically altered, quote unquote, which somehow means they have light-based powers.
Yep.
I don't know. It's not really any dumber, but I preferred it better when they called it photon powers. Just as I was thinking, what's Monica's superhero name? Kamala asks her, like, what her code name is, right? She doesn't have one. And Fury points out that Danvers and Monica had both come in contact with malfunctioning jump points, and that's why they changed places. But they don't say anything as to why Kamala does too.
Yeah. Before we get too far, they
Yeah.
actually mentioned like Spectrum, and that actually is one of her names in the comic books. Was
Oh, nice.
she was actually Spectrum. I think at one point she was Captain Marvel also, until Captain Marvel came back and reclaimed her name,
Okay.
and then she became Spectrum, I think.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that's a decent name. Speaking of Kamala, she wants to show off her powers and oops, switches places with Carol again. Then we get the awkward moment between Monica and Carol, who haven't seen each other since the end of Captain Marvel, which took place in 1995. I thought it was cute, though, that Carol calls her Lieutenant Trouble again.
Ah, that was cute, yeah. And then Monica just brushes her off, all
Yeah.
mean.
She's like, it's Captain Rambeau now.
Yeah.
So Captain Rambeau fills Carol in on their working theory. When they use their powers at the same time, they switch places because of the exposure to the wonky jump points causing entanglement of their light powers. We get additional exposition. Monica can manipulate and see all wavelengths of the electromagnetic spectrum. So that started me thinking, couldn't she just kill everyone with gamma rays?
She could. That's part of her power set.
Okay, so that's like fact?
In the comic books at
Yeah.
least. She doesn't
Okay,
seem to do
cool.
that here.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
No, that's cool because I was like, well, I started, I don't know, I had a whole bunch of math here, but I was like, if she could manipulate visible light into gamma rays, and I was like doing a bunch of math, and it's like, well, you get hit with plenty of visible light photons to produce plenty of gamma rays. So
She can also like fly at the speed of light.
nice.
Or she's supposed to at least.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I thought that was a interesting idea. I'm glad to see that that's how it was in the comics. Then there's one more switch where Kamala's falling out of the sky, but at the last second she switches back with Danvers. I thought it was pretty funny when like she hits the ground and Fury's like, "Oh, it's cool, it's Carol."
Yeah. That whole scene had me like kind of puzzled because like, all right, if you knew that using your powers triggers the switch, then why would you fly and risk the kid not knowing how to fly and not knowing how to survive a fall from that high? Like, wouldn't she just like float 4 feet off the ground? Wouldn't that be better? To
But I'm trying to think. Didn't Carol? What happened? I just remember at the end when she switches. Okay, so Carol went to go fly to go confront Darben. Right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, because she said she switched. She was fighting Darbin.
Right.
She switched places, and then now Kamala was up there with
Right.
Darbin,
Right. Okay.
and then
Yeah.
so she was like, "Oh crap!" And she tried to fire up her arm, and it wasn't switching, and so she decided to fly instead. And I was like, "Why don't you just like float instead of trying to fly over there?" Because at
Unless she was
any
trying to
point,
fly over there to save her. I don't know.
how fast? Like, isn't
Yeah.
Darbin like a galaxy away?
Yeah. I
Or
don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. What you're saying. So let's see. I have a note. If you're holding on to something or someone when you switch. Oh, right. So this is where Kamala was holding on to Monica,
yep,
and she's activating her powers and switches places with Carol. So
yep,
then Monica and Kamala end up in Darben's ship, right?
yep.
And then Danvers shows up in a hurry, so I guess it doesn't take that long to get there.
That's the part I didn't get. Like, where is Earth just central to every planet in the galaxy now? Like, how,
Apparently,
or does Carol use jump points without her ship, or how does
maybe.
any of that work?
Yeah, yeah. She did get there in a hurry,
Yeah.
and then she flies out with Kamala, and then Monica flies herself out. They go to visit the Skrulls on the planet's surface, and this is on Tarnax.
Yep.
And then Darben pops down for a bit too, and she seems to think that the Skrulls sicked the Annihilator on the Kree, thereby betraying them. So she goes ahead and begins to she goes ahead and begins the atmosphere siphoning process. Man,
Yes.
I'm having trouble speaking today. And then it becomes a race to evacuate the planet in time. There's lots of heroism going on, lots of switching of ruse. And then I forgot that they left a bunch of Skrulls behind. It's like, oh
That's kind of
man,
sad. You can
yeah,
see them on the ground just running around, and their last lifeboats are taken off. And it's just like,
yep,
oh, that must suck knowing that those were the boats you were supposed to get on if you wanted to survive.
yep. So yeah, they needed to save who they could, but Kamala seems to take that pretty hard.
Yeah.
Aboard the ship, Carol's ship, this is Gravik, the Skrull leader, tells Carol that she really fucked the peace treaty with the Kree. Carol claims it was all a ruse. Gravik says he doesn't want her help anymore, which I don't know, man. I feel like she could still be useful. you know, even
I
if
mean,
she,
didn't she find that planet for them?
yeah. I mean, I would not be turning that help down.
Yeah.
I had also totally forgotten that Valkyrie shows up here for a bit. I was glad to see
Yeah.
her.
I was like, yay.
Girl power. And I thought it was funny that she calls Captain Marvel Marv.
I missed
Uh,
that part.
yeah. It was just once. She's like, "What's happening, Marv?" or something. Then, so yeah, Carol called her to take the remaining Skrulls somewhere safe. Don't know where that is. I'm guessing New Asgard, maybe.
Oh, before you get away from Valkyrie, I liked her line about I've been on some unintentional teams myself because Captain Marvel was telling her about having to team up with Kamala and Monica. And I was remembering the Thor I'm putting together a team during
Oh yeah,
Ragnarok, and we're going to call it the
Revengers.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good callback reference.
Yeah.
Next, we go to Hala, the homeworld of the Kree, and it's not looking good. There's a dim red sun. The atmosphere is smoggy, if not foggy.
They're all wearing
Yeah,
masks.
and they can breathe just fine with their KN95s on. I don't like that. Doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
There's a jammed jump point that's pouring fresh atmosphere in. That's coming from Tarnax. The Skrulls have gathered around to take a breath of fresh air. They take off their masks, and Darben recaps what happened. I assume this is what happened after the Captain Marvel movie. Captain Marvel just wrecks shit at Hala, destroys the Supreme Intelligence, and that's that explosion that we saw in Carol Danvers' memory earlier on.
Yep.
Oh, I did have one other thing. So they got this atmosphere pouring in, presumably because they need fresh oxygen. But what about the atmosphere that's already there? That's like, they need something else sucking off the current, and I use that phrase specifically, the current
Sucking.
atmosphere. Like they got one pouring in on one side of the planet, have something pulling out on the other.
Right.
Also, now that I think about it, how does the jump point even know which planet to suck off and which one to dump onto?
Which one's
Yes,
blowing and
what
which one's sucking?
exactly? No, I'm really confused.
Also, you just where do they pour the water in? Just is it just like a faucet
Yeah,
just
when
spilling water
yeah,
into like a
it's like a
random
deluge
place?
later on. Like that's gonna cause some damage, man. You can't just have.
The planet full of water.
So then Carol and Monica spend some time making repairs, both to the ship and to their relationship. Monica is still upset with Carol because when she left, she said that she'd be back before she knew it. They showed this in the beginning when Carol was remembering the first movie. Carol says she meant it, but she didn't know that she didn't know what she was getting herself into. There were people that needed her, and Monica says that they also needed her, meaning Maria and Monica. I
Yes.
think that's fair, especially because she was a little kid then. So she's definitely feeling those feelings. And then the three ladies get to know each other better. Kamala dubs Monica Professor Marvel, and Monica doesn't seem to like that too much. If Monica's Professor Marvel, then then they can be the Marvels, which I don't hate it. I get it.
No, that's actually a pretty good name. I thought. I don't know why it should have stuck. I would watch the Marvels 2
I'd give it a shot.
just to see. Yeah.
Kamala has also figured out that the Vambrace, aka a quantum band that Darben has, the one that's like hers, that's how the portals are being jammed open. Carol adds that Kree legend says the quantum bands were used to create every jump point in the universe. Okay.
Huh.
I guess that's fine. I didn't really need that backstory, but
But like so I can't remember. Is Kamala supposed to be a mutant? And
I
then
don't know.
the Vambraces triggered her
Yeah, I
power?
don't know. I don't really remember the show that much, but I think that there's something special about her that allows her to use the Vambrace, like not just any regular person would
Yeah.
be able to, because she has powers. She uses her powers without it too.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, wait, then what do the Vambraces do?
Yeah, or maybe this is a bad movie. I don't know. I assume that she had
Yeah.
powers beyond what she needs the Vambrace for, but I'm not sure.
Because Darben does not use the Vambrace to make solid constructs out of light.
No, right. So that's a different.
Like,
So I think the Vambrace is there to like focus power or enhance it, maybe. So
yeah. Which like is confusing because she seems to come from the Wonder Woman power of weapons where you just bang stuff against your
right,
Vambrace and shit happens.
whatever you need it to. Um,
Yeah.
So Darben must be overloading the quantum man. They say that Darben must be overloading the quantum man that she has with her universal weapon to force unstable jump points into the grid. Here, my question was, how come Darben never switches places with them? I guess if the quantum man just enhances powers, then she doesn't have the same kind of powers that they do, and so she wouldn't switch places. I guess I just figured it out.
Maybe that's why she's not
Yeah.
entangled. Yeah, that's why she's not entangled with them.
I think that they could have done something cool with that, though. I thought, like, if she was also switching places, it could have, like, I don't know, Carol could have jumped over a volcano and switched places.
That's true. And just told the other two, don't use
Yeah,
your powers when
just
I do this.
just sit down, relax. Actually, I have a similar
Yep.
comment for the changes section. So I think Kamala is adorably funny. She talks about she's talking about on Darben's ship.
She had star charts and maps on the screens on her ship.
Okay. To where?
To the stars.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was great.
Which is funny because she has moments where she's clearly like really smart, but then she's got moments like that where she's like, "Oh yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
she's a kid." She missed those details because like earlier, I don't think we talked about it, but like earlier when she saw the iPad, she was like, is that the new iPad to
Oh yeah,
Captain
yeah.
Marvel?" And then she like took it and she was like, "If it's top secret, then why is it see through or why is it clear or something?"
It's a good point.
And I was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's a really
she's
good
pretty
point."
great.
Yeah.
Then we review the events of the movie thus far when Danvers uses the scroll mindfract device on the three of them.
She just happened to have two more.
Yeah, exactly. You can never have too many. You might break one or two. You want to have some spares. But there's a lot more
Fair.
exposition comes out of this. Darben's band absorbs energy and redirects it, which seems to be in line with Monica's theory about using the universal weapon in conjunction with it. They see the star chart of the Magellanic Galaxy, and then some of the other memories creep in. One where Captain Marvel came back to see Maria, who told her she's dying of cancer. And Maria tells Carol that she needs to take care of Goose until Monica comes back. And then Carol says Monica blipped, which I thought was a bad choice of words because blipped implies that she came back, right? I don't think anybody was calling it the blip when everybody disappeared. It wasn't the blip till they came back, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I get it. It's shorthand in the MCU. And then we see Monica when she came back from the blip, which I guess I just made the same mistake by calling it that. But it's 5 years later in the hospital where she had been with her mom, comes back in the hospital, the room's empty, nobody even knows where this person is, and she finds out that that she had died. I could. There's
gotta
like
suck.
some. Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
totally gotta suck, man. Like literally
yeah.
been a fraction of a second for her, right? But it's been 5 years. But I couldn't figure out. There was a line of dialogue that you hear, but you don't see anybody speak it. But it was just like, oh, sorry, sweetie, she died. And she's in the hospital at the time when you hear that voiceover. Monica
Yeah.
is. I was confused. Monica and Maria. Monica's the daughter, right?
Yeah.
Monica is in the hospital. And so I thought that a nurse was telling her that. And I was like, how would that nurse remember shit from 5 years ago that this person, I guess maybe she could have died earlier that day, but I don't know. It didn't make sense. But
Or she like looked it up.
yeah, maybe,
She looked up all of the patients
But
in
it was
that
a little
room.
confusing to me, but I don't know. We can't spend that much time on it.
Yeah.
Trying to make everything make perfect sense for the nerds like me. Yeah. I think that Monica has a pretty decent science explanation of the jump point system.
Yeah.
Nothing really jumped out at me as being particularly egregious. I liked the fracking analogy that she had too, mostly. She says the more holes you drill, meaning the more jump points you jam open, the more destabilized it becomes and you can get an earthquake. I don't know if that's 100% true. I'm not sure if fracking can cause an earthquake. To be honest, I really don't know, but I know you could certainly get a sinkhole from it, which that's not good. And then she says that if Darben keeps jamming jump points open, it's not going to be good. And they figure that since Darben is using the jump points to steal atmosphere, it reasons that she'd be after water next. And there's a planet, Aldana, with 99.63% ocean coverage in the Magellanic Galaxy, which is that star map that she had. What's up?
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes and I have Aldana is like the chapter heading, the section heading.
I have a note in a second here. I forget where it is, but it's just like I'm pretty sure this is the part I don't like. So
yeah.
if anyone cares, if Aldana is Earth-sized, then that leaves about a piece of land about the size of the state of Alaska. If it's 99.63% ocean coverage, I feel like they could spare some water. Open up some beachfront real estate.
I'm still going back to the whole like, okay, well, what was the plan? You're just gonna dump all the water?
Yes.
In the drought.
Apparently, yes.
Hey guys, I heard you guys need water.
Now you're gonna have mudslide issues.
Floods.
So they head to Aldana, and on the way there, they FaceTime Kamala's family, who are with Fury in the space elevator, for reasons that seem explicitly for putting them in danger later on for an unnecessary plot purpose.
Right. How do you feel about space elevators? I'm like kind of wondering, they have those spaceships. Then what do they need a space elevator for? That seems like a very long and unnecessary risk to take.
I don't know. Maybe it's safer. I don't know.
We never see the bottom of the like that big blue beam. Like, what is that beam
like
landing
in my backyard? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I didn't think too much of it, but I don't know. Maybe they're more efficient than a spaceship. I'm not sure. So the three electromagnetically enhanced ladies work on coordinating their power usage and switching, which seems like a good idea to me. They got the time to do it.
Especially when you got the Beastie Boys in the background.
Yeah, it's a good song choice. By the way, they pointed out in the commentary here something I didn't pick up on because they need to. I forget why, but both Monica and Kamala needed some of Captain Marvel's clothes, right?
Yeah.
So Monica wears the 9 Inch Nails shirt, the white 9 Inch Nails shirt from the first Captain Marvel movie in that scene. So,
what was Kamala wearing?
Some other shirt.
The pajamas and stuff. It looked like, I guess.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the Saber space station, some jello mold of a brain-looking thing shows up, and people debate whether to tell Fury or not.
I totally have that in my notes. I was like, should we tell what?
Yes, you definitely tell Fury. And they decided
seriously,
to.
I was like, what?
But then he's just like, let's just wait and see. And then 29 more show up out of nowhere.
Right.
But spoiler alert, don't worry, it's stupid and actually helpful for the unnecessary plot line later on.
Yeah. I feel like everything peaked at the Beastie Boys training montage. That was like the last scene that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, you might be right. The Marvels arrive at the oceanic planet of Aldana, and this is where I had the note where we're getting to the part that I hate. It's what I remember for most. It's what I remember most for sure.
I really dislike this. I really dislike this planet.
As they approach, Carol has some real quick exposition. She's kind of married to the prince who runs the place. It was a marriage of convenience done as a favor to the prince. She calls it a diplomatic act because it's a matriarchal society. That's not what I hate about this, by the way. I'm fine with a matriarchal society.
Yeah.
When they do show up, everybody starts singing and dancing, which I also don't really have an issue with on the face of it. I do have an issue, huge issue, with the idea that the Aldenians who sing in English can't understand anything spoken, i.e. not sung. That is stupid as fuck. Get it out of this otherwise serviceable movie.
How do you fight while you sing? Does it sound like a...
I don't know.
Sounds like such a wasted, inefficient way of communicating.
Yeah. But it's so bad. It's like they can't even hear talking.
Yeah.
Right? They're completely oblivious to it. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
I already wanted them wiped out.
Yes. I would have been fine. But to make matters dumber, Carol sings that they are in danger. So now everybody knows. Why didn't she just speak it? Because, by the way, the prince is bilingual, quote unquote, because he understands talking. So it was so dumb.
I gotta say, this is definitely the scene that made me go, oh, maybe people are onto something, that maybe the MCU has jumped the shark and we're not gonna, we're beyond the glory days of the MCU. I really didn't want to believe it, but this scene made me go, huh.
Yeah, it was just so unnecessary. I did have a pretty good laugh here, though. Just as I was thinking, why isn't white girl Carol dancing? Kamala asks her why she's not, and she goes, I am dancing. Because she's like kind of just walking with a little bit of swagger right where they're going. Because, that's how white people dance. Take it from me.
This is your zone right here.
That's right. No, I don't mix it up any more than that. I have a misogyny gripe. It took me a long time to pick up on this one, actually. The guy who is introducing them.
Pleasure to announce to this lovely room full 2 new faces. One could be more cheerful.
Isn't that that's a Captain Marvel thing where everybody was like, you should smile more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, how would you f off with your you should smile more bullshit? But it took me a long time to notice that because I was distracted by him referring to them as the Marvels.
But nonetheless, we ring the bells to usher in who pray tell. None other than 1, 2, 3. The Marvels.
The Marvels. Yes. How is that even a thing already?
And Monica even calls that out. She's like, how is that a thing already? I was also laughing at Carol in her Captain Marvel princess dress. She just looks she looks so miserable and uncomfortable, which I can also relate. I hate dressing up. So this part of the movie just has a general suckiness for me. All the pomp and circumstance goes on for a bit too long.
It's definitely a joke that got run into the ground.
Yeah, for sure. Like not even a good joke to begin with. It's a joke that should have been left, in an old draft.
Yep.
Eventually, the prince hooks the Marvels up with some new outfits. What did you think of Carol's new outfit? I thought I thought Kamala's and Monica's were good, but I didn't like Carol's because of the colors. They were like so grim. It was like this.
Oh, it was like dark, right?
Yeah,
it was
like this dingy red
like
and
Civil War
blue.
Captain America.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I prefer the brighter colors, but whatever.
Yeah. Like her dress.
Yes. They hatch a plan for the Marvels to stay close, but to be out of sight, ready to strike when Darben shows up. Meanwhile, the prince is supposed to keep Darben distracted as long as possible. And they need to get the bangle from her. I don't know why they started calling it a bangle, or maybe I called it a bangle. Then right on cue, the Leviathan configuration Hellraiser puzzle box Kree ships show up. Did they remind you of that too? I have a picture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it is exactly that, right? The really thin diamond.
Yep.
It would have been cool if they transformed.
Yes, totally. Also, I noticed that they show up through a bunch of jump points. It's like, why are there so many jump points between two of the same areas?
I don't know.
I don't know.
There's a lot of holes in this show to begin with.
Supremor Darben and her Kree guards pop in to see the prince, and good news, she's there to pardon him for his crimes against the Kree Empire. No word on what those are. I guess maybe the Kree aren't big on due process.
She didn't sing in this part, right?
Darben?
Yeah.
No.
Like in any, like she didn't even try to sing or anything.
I don't think so. I wonder if that was a cut scene.
Straight insulting the locals by not even talking, by not even speaking in their
language. Yeah.
Yeah.
The prince refuses to kneel, so she goes to blast him, but Monica jumps in and blocks it. And so much for keeping Darben occupied. He just got right to it.
Yep.
There's a big fight scene between all involved. The Marvels take turns using their powers so as not to switch it up, but sometimes doing it on accident, sometimes doing it on purpose.
The prince told Kamala to use her scarf and use that as a weapon.
Yeah. It was
like, she's a 15-year-old kid. Tell her to go hide.
Yes.
Why are you making her? You have soldiers. You tell them to fight. Go or sing to them to fight.
Monica fights Darben for a while, stopping her from jamming open a jump point. Then Danvers tags in with the switch. Then Kamala switches with Danvers, and Darben sees the other quantum bangle. And I thought it was funny here too.
Where did you get that?
My grandma, she sent it to me in the mail.
Dude, she has like the best lines. I love her lines. But like she had it. She also had it on her. I don't get, like, she had it on her in the earlier in the movie, and it was totally showing. And I guess Darben just didn't make the connection because it wasn't shining.
I don't think she saw it like when she was on the ship in her regular clothes. Yeah. Kamala, I don't think she was wearing it because I had that thought. I went and I looked, and it didn't look like she had it on. I don't know why she
had it on. Remember, because she was pulling her shirt over it when she saw the vambrace on the pedestal.
Oh, okay.
And so she was like, "Oh, that looks like what I have." And then she started trying to pull her shirt over it.
Oh, then she had.
But I feel like by then, no, I mean, but by then it should have been already too late. Like, I feel like if I were Darben, I would have been like, "Hey, that thing on your arm looks a lot like this thing. That's mine."
I don't know. Maybe she wasn't expecting, like she's not expecting somebody to show up with it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That wasn't a problem for me, but Danvers switches back, and when she grabs Darben's vambrace, it absorbs some of her powers, and then Darben blasts her across the way into a building, and then proceeds to jam open that jump point. Thanks, Carol.
Yep.
This starts the water siphoning process, just jumping it on Hala, which we've discussed can't be good. And it looks like she jammed open several jump points too, so it's just dumping in on multiple places.
Yeah.
Let's see. More fighting happens with the ships involved now, and the Marvels have to activate another jump point to bail out in the hoopty.
But that thing starts off, I guess, that earthquake they were talking about, and the spaceship or the space station loses its electricity.
Oh, is that why? Okay. Yeah. I thought that was just like coincidence, but yeah, right. That makes sense.
Like, I have in my notes, like, no one seems concerned that the power at the space station has been fried and the elevator's offline, and like Nick Fury does not seem very worried about anything.
They're in a mild panic, but yeah, not really as well. I mean, the whole we don't need that whole plot line.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, so they bailed on the Aldenians, but they had to get Kamala's bangle away from Darben. And then I think they're back on Earth. It wasn't really clear to me. Carol confesses to just making things worse on Hala after destroying the Supreme Intelligence. Apparently she ate all the guacamole and sour cream. I'll never get tired of that joke. That's why the Kree call her Annihilator, and why she never wanted to see Monica, because she was ashamed of what she did. Which I don't know. You could have just kept it a secret like she has been this entire movie until this point.
Yeah, she was busy, like
Yeah.
a lot of superheroes were.
Yep. I also feel like Annihilator is a pretty rad name. I would not be mad about being called that.
Yeah, I'd be like, that's right.
That's
Just ask
right.
him why I got that name.
Yeah. Maybe you want to rethink what you're doing right now,
Right.
talking to the Annihilator. Just as another jammed jump point opens up where they are, it's time to check in on the happenings in the Saber space station. And things are going poorly. More jello mold brain things are showing up. The space elevator's busted, and half the evacuation pods aren't working. So they can't fit everyone in to evacuate, and things are catching fire all over the place. And you look like you had something to say.
No, in my head, I was remembering our Thunderbolts conversation. You know how like there was that sonic shield, and they were like the power source must be separate from the
Yeah,
main
yeah,
power,
yeah.
and that's why that's still there. And I was like, oh, and in my head, I was like, oh, maybe that's why the shields and stuff aren't failing because they're on separate power sources from whatever got fried inside of the space station.
Maybe. But it turns out that the little jello molds are flirkin eggs, and a little cute flirkin kitten starts hatching out. Little cute flirkin kittens hatch out of them. Who knocked up Goose?
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't have any problem with kittens running around. It's just what they did with them that,
It's so ridiculous.
yeah.
Then the Marvels arrive, and then we have another dumb movie idea. Not as bad as the singing, in my opinion, but even more unnecessary. They use the Flurkins to swallow everyone, which
Mhm.
just puts them in some interdimensional space, and then they can evacuate everyone within the Flurkins because they don't take up that much space. They don't take up that much room. Even if you're going to be fine after they throw you back up, just I imagine the trauma is going to be pretty unimaginable.
How do they know that there was atmosphere where
Yeah,
they were
like
taken? So many questions.
all we know is that Goose swallowed 2 Kree and then threw him up like maybe a
Yeah.
minute later. I don't know, right? Yeah, it seems pretty untested to me.
And Kree can breathe in space, so I mean,
Yeah,
why
there
are
you
you going
go.
to assume humans can?
That's right. So I don't know. It was
Actually,
all
no,
too
you know that humans can. So why
yes,
would you assume that it's the same?
it's all too silly for me. Also, how does a Flurkin eat anything?
I don't know.
Right? If everything they swallow can just be thrown back up later.
Maybe
I don't know.
maybe it's only when the tentacles come out that the
Oh yeah, I
portal to
guess
that.
yeah. Maybe they could just eat regular cat food with their regular mouth. That would make sense.
Yeah.
So just as the evacuation is underway,
I feel
Monica
like I got
locates.
stupider just trying to wonder about
Probably. Just as the evacuation is underway, Monica locates Darben, whose plan now is to steal Earth's sun. So the Marvels go fight Darben. It's an okay fight. They pretty easily take away her universal weapon, but she still has the quantum band. Darben gets impaled and trapped under some rubble. Kamala is like, please give us back the bangle. I feel like they should have just gone and taken it. They could have done so.
especially when she's impaled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
She should have just been like, that's what you get when you mess with the Annihilator.
Exactly. Exactly. Monica proposes that Carol use her powers to jumpstart Hala's son, thereby also redeeming herself a bit. That's kind of my own thought there. Monica didn't say that to her. And then a lot of dumb shit starts to happen here.
Yep.
Stupidly, Carol lifts the rubble off of Darben, who unsurprisingly grabs her universal weapon and uses it to hold Kamala hostage, and then takes the other quantum bangle. Captain Marvel flies into her and through a jump point just as Darben smacks the bangles together in Wonder Woman fashion, as you were
Right.
pointing out, which I like annihilates her. I don't know what happened, but there was a big release of energy, and now the jump point is extra fucked up.
Yeah.
And Captain Marvel grabs the bangles and gives them both to Kamala with complete disregard for any concern about her accidentally annihilating herself like she just saw Darben do.
That's the point. I was just like, what? Like you just really hate your biggest fan.
Yes. Oh boy. Monica says the jump point has become a self-propagating singularity with negative mass and non-Newtonian topology. which is mostly just descriptors for a black hole, except for the negative
You see
mass
it
thing.
too for a little
Yeah.
bit in the
Oh, really?
there.
I have to go back and
Yeah,
look.
it looks very similar. It's blue. It looks very similar to the interstellar black hole. Like I feel like they use the same rendering or something,
How did I miss
but
that?
it's
Okay.
blue.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, the negative mass, that's not a thing. That kind of stuck in my craw a bit. But the rest of the explanation was kind of okay, except that it's clearly a wormhole and not a black hole. Right? It goes from one place to another.
Yeah, at least they didn't bring quantum particles in the quantum verse into that.
They did have to call them quantum bangles, though.
No, that's right.
So also, Monica says that Darben tore a hole in space-time, and that it's a different reality on the other side. Why? It's not a multiversal tear, according to what she just said, right? I mean,
How do you set up Kang and the Conquer and all that stuff? If you,
I guess they were still running with that idea.
yeah,
So to fix the tear, in theory, Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel can release the same amount of energy used to open it, while Professor Marvel absorbs it and then releases it from inside the tear, which I feel like that would just make it worse. I have no idea why they think that's going to do anything that's
why,
helpful.
why do they think that? I thought the whole thing was that Captain Marvel can absorb it, Professor Marvel can see it, and Kamala can manifest it as a solid object. So how did they know that she'd be able to absorb it?
That would make more
And
sense. They should have done it that way. Yeah. But they didn't. Speaking of negative energy, I feel like they should have been like, we need to use negative energy, which again doesn't exist. I guess I said negative mass before.
negative mass, yeah.
Yeah. But they should have done something to. I just feel like another huge energy explosion isn't going to undo the damage.
Right.
Or maybe they need to absorb energy from the tear. I don't know. But they don't need to worry about switching places anymore because their powers aren't entangled anymore for plot reasons. And I don't know how Kamala knows this, but apparently that's the case.
She just kind of up and said, "We're not entangled anymore." I
Yeah.
think was what
Maybe.
it was, right?
I wonder if maybe they both used powers at the same time. No, because the only thing that happened was Darben clapped the bangles together and blew up, and that was it. Yeah. I don't know how she knows. Anyways, Kamala uses both the bangles to do the exact same thing that destroyed Darben, but she's fine. And then they carry out the plan, and then this is something I didn't really catch until I heard the commentary. It was something that was interesting in the commentary. They refer to Monica as Photon here when her eyes go all white and stuff. Yeah. So that was interesting to me.
And then she goes in and she solders the universe back together again from the other side.
Well, it was weird. Yeah. So like, contrary to what I thought, the plan does work. And Monica doesn't release the energy in the middle like she said. She makes like these energy web slings or something.
Right.
To pull it back together, which kind of makes sense, except she's pulling it back from the wrong side. It's like it was pushed from our universe into the other one, right?
Right.
Like something got punched through, and so it's kind of like spread out into that other universe. She goes through and turns around and starts pulling them back together. Shouldn't you pull them back?
Shouldn't she be pushing it?
Yeah, she should either be pushing it from that side or
pulling it from our
side, right? So she's on but for whatever reason it closes it, and now she's stuck on the other side. And if she had done it from the right side, that wouldn't have happened.
But she knew apparently, because she was like, I knew it was going to be a one-way trip.
Yeah. Isn't that a line from The Abyss? Where he's like punching the thing out on his arm when
Ed
typing on his arm. Ed, Ed, what's his name? The bald guy.
Yeah.
Harris.
I like him. Ed Harris, yeah.
Anyways, after all that, Kamala goes home, and I thought that what's her name? Iman Villanita. I can't pronounce her last name. The actress who plays Kamala does a great job here of being convincingly upset without being too much. I feel like a young actor can often overplay the emotions.
Yeah.
Let's see. We see that the Flurkin have vomited everyone out. That happened off screen, robbing us of a magnificent vomitage.
Puke fest. Yeah.
Carol jumpstarts Hala's son. It's not really any dumber than the entire premise for Sunshine, which I love, so this is acceptable. and also she's fine afterwards. And then there's some other stuff that doesn't really matter, like Kamala's family moves into the Rambeau household.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a pre-credit stinger, not our first one, by the way. The baby Groot dancing at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, was the first one. And Kamala goes to see Kate Bishop in New York City.
Oh yes, yes.
Hinting at the Kid Avengers or something. What, in their
Young Avengers.
Okay,
yeah. I don't know how
if,
are they going to do that, because Haley Steinfeld, and I'm sure that these guys look nothing like young,
yeah,
like kid Avengers. Like,
yeah, they're not going to be kid enough. Yeah, or I guess they're still young. They could be in their 20s.
They could be like middle aged. No, not middle. They're not exactly middle aged. Young adult Avengers, I guess.
I presume it's going to be a TV show. I don't know if it's going to make for a good movie, but
yeah.
And lucky for you, George, they're also looking for Cassie Lang. They want her too.
Yeah, I saw that. I heard that.
Your favorite character.
They're gonna bring her back. Yeah.
Then we have the mid-credit stinger. Monica wakes up.
This is why Monica went over there. It's to bring the X-Men back.
Okay, well, it's not why she did. It's why the movie had her go there.
Yeah, I know.
So Monica wakes up in a hospital bed in the other universe, and she thinks that her mom is there, but it's not her mom. It's somebody who looks like her, right? That's got to be hard. And also, Beast,
was her name still Maria? Oh, they didn't say, right?
Didn't say. Beast calls her binary, which I remember we talked about it before, where I was like, it wasn't clear to me if she was binary or not, and I remember looking into it, and I couldn't find a straight answer. It's right there in the dialogue. He calls her binary. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why I was
it's
confused
one of
before.
It's one of Captain Marvel's like old names or old forms too.
Yeah. I think she has the Van braces on too. She's got something on her arms. They look a lot like the ones from earlier in the movie. I don't know if they're specifically not, but anyways, let's see. Yeah, so Beast is there, voiced by Kelsey Grammer, and in the commentary, Nia DaCosta was like super into this part, and she's like, I wanted to put more multiverse stuff in. And I was kind of glad she didn't, because I'm tired of it.
Yeah. Also, I was like, what were you wearing? What were you putting a blanket on for? You look like you have a lot of costume on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's clearly to cover her up. Cover up her costume. And then after the credits for the ASMR people, I guess, we hear flirking, meowing, and vomiting sounds for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember if I sat through that in the theater or not. I would like to think that after the movie was over, I checked whatever website it is that tells you if you should stay for the the things or not. And I saw what it was. I was like, no. And then that takes us to changes we'd like to have seen.
A lot.
Yes. Would you like to go first?
Yeah, just get rid of the singing planet.
Yep, I have that.
That didn't need to be there. Get rid of the Flurkins. That didn't need to happen.
Yes.
I do like the cons in that they're like a family that's very supportive of their kid.
Yeah.
But I feel like they went a little bit too far with this whole just taking it in stride and being in the middle of like a planetary crisis.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. They were kind of just rolling with it. Yeah. Her brother's pretty funny too, actually. I like him.
I do like her brother. And as a family unit, they're funny, but sometimes I'm just like, no family would be able to hold it together, regardless of like whether one of their kids was a superhero. Like, this is scary stuff, and your kid is out there like trying to save everything. I liked parts of it enough, but the parts that sucked just really kind of sucked.
Really sucked. Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of Darbin. I just could not.
No, there was something
get behind them.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know, it was like too much chewing the scenery or something. I don't know. I couldn't.
Yeah.
There's something I didn't like about the character. But yeah, I agree. I would like to get rid of the singing entirely, but at the very least, make it a different language.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. We don't need the Flurkins. I would go so far as to say, I don't think we need any of the drama on the Saber station. It was just like completely unnecessary. Yeah. It was just to put Kamala's family in danger. Yeah. And we didn't need that at all. Could have cut it out of the movie entirely and nothing changes.
I'm sure S.H.I.E.L.D. had a safe house somewhere they could have put them.
Right.
They did not have to bring them to a space station.
you put him in a Best Western or I don't
Yeah.
know, a Hyatt. Go a little higher end. I would have liked to change the end. I would have liked to seen. I would change the end too. Let's put it that way. I think it would have been interesting if Darben had come around, and instead of insisting on getting the van braces and attacking, if she had been convinced in the end that Carol will restart the sun for them. And instead of her doing a big blast that tears the multiverse a new arsehole, it could have been
Mhm.
the fracking earthquake analogy that they set up. And I feel like they didn't really follow through with that too much, other than what you said about the Saber space station losing some power.
Yeah. You think that the whole jump points being unstable because of Darben, you think that was supposed to lead up to what would have been the future storyline for Kang and everything if that had kept on going?
I have no idea. I feel like all those Kangs can just go wherever the hell they want, whenever they want. So you
Yeah,
don't
that's
really
true.
need the jump points for that. But maybe somebody needs to go through one and sort of poke at the poke the it's the
Poke the
phrase.
bear.
Yeah, poke the bear to get him riled up, or some of his variants riled up to do something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there could have just been this big instability event, and that could have caused a multiversal tear.
Yeah.
And you can still do the energy thing, but maybe explain it better than saying release it in the middle. And you can still have the sudden and unexplained lack of power entanglement happening at the end. Monica can still get trapped on the other side. And maybe it makes more sense for her to be on the other side if the instability caused the tear to poke out towards our universe.
Right.
Carol could still fix Hollis' son, and then Darben can be like, okay, that's one step towards making amends. So I don't know. I thought that ending could have played out differently. Alternatively, this could have been an entirely different movie if Kamala just gave Carol the other quantum vambrace temporarily.
Right.
Monica and Kamala could have just sat out the rest of the movie while Captain Marvel just cleans up her own mess,
Right.
and then nobody has to worry about switching places. It wouldn't have been a The Marvels movie at that point, but that makes a little more sense to me. So that takes us to ranking the Rotten Tomatoes scores. I had them here.
Ooh, I forgot one more thing I changed.
Yeah.
I'd bring back old Nick Fury.
Yeah, I agree with
I
you
did
there.
not enjoy this version of Nick Fury.
He's too chill.
Yeah.
Nick Fury should not have any chill. All right, so the Marvels Rotten Tomatoes scores: all critics 62%, top critics 45%, all audience 64%, verified audience 79%. That's a little high if you ask me.
That's really high.
Yeah. So I feel like the critics and all audience are a little bit correct to me here, 62 and 64.
What was Quantum Mania now? I'm super curious.
Quantumania, I think was higher. Well, all critics had it at 46, top critics had it at 38,
Oh,
but
well.
all audience was like 73 and 81. Audience liked that one too much. They're like,
Yeah.
things are moving on the screen. It's great. But I really wanted to like this more. There's a lot of decent to good movie here, but
Yeah.
multiple really dumb things, and some of them not even important to the plot. On a positive note, I did not once check how much time was left in it, which means something.
How long was it?
Like I think I said at the beginning, like an hour 45 or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it did not feel like a 2-hour movie, so that's probably
Yeah,
why.
yeah. So I wasn't bored with it by any means. So at least there's that.
Yeah.
I am ready to talk tier when you are. But if you had any final comments before we do that, you
Yeah.
should go.
I think Kamala Khan, the actress that plays Kamala Khan, I think she did superbly
Yep.
in this. She's probably one of the better reasons it's not an F tier movie for me.
Yes. Yes. So we agree that it's not F tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would put it in the D tier personally.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Okay. So in the D tier, from top to bottom, we have Iron Man 2, Spider-Man No Way Home, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Thor The Dark World, and Iron Man 3. And so that's 26 through 30.
Yep.
Did you have a feeling for what the ranking placement would be?
I have a feeling, but I want to hear yours.
Okay. I was thinking around Thor: The Dark World, but also I feel like No Way Home made me angrier. So I think below Iron Man 2 and above Iron Man 3 for sure. Maybe probably above Thor: The Dark World. I'm not really positive. I don't know. What do you think?
So how do you feel compared to Black Panther Wakanda Forever? Since that's smack in the
Yeah.
middle of Thor: The Dark World, because that's where I was looking, and I was like, but I like Wakanda Forever better.
I think I agree with you. I think I like Wakanda Forever better. So
Yeah.
you're proposing it's the new number 29.
Yep. That's
Okay.
what I was
Yeah.
looking at.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I agree. All right. That makes The Marvels the new number 29.
There goes us agreeing again.
There goes our one listener.
She's gonna be pissed.
Yeah. So let's play Infinity Saga Trivial Pursuit Poker just for fun. And let's see, we'll read the questions and then it looks like it's my turn to bid first. Double check that.
Aren't you guys dancing? I am dancing.
We just
Wow.
watched that. We just watched it. I don't know the answer to the
I
first
don't know
question.
how. I don't.
Freaking Flurkins, they were just so distracting.
Oh. Okay, I'm ready when you are. I hear you typing. You better not be Googling stuff.
No, I'm typing my answers so I don't forget them.
Oh, okay. Everyone's writing mine down. Do it the old-fashioned way.
All right. I'm ready.
It is my turn to bid first, and I'm going to bid 4.
Oh, damn. Okay, yeah, you win.
All right.
I mean, you definitely outbid me.
How many would you have said?
2.
2? Oh, damn. I should have done 3. Well, that's okay. All right. I'm going to drop this on here and not look. Did it send? I pressed return. I don't know if that sends or not.
Oh, that's right. You're texting it, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm trying to avert my gaze.
I don't have it yet. You're texting it, right?
Oh, yeah.
No.
It didn't send. Why didn't it send? There it goes. Okay.
There you go.
All
righty.
Okay.
First question. What article of Carol Danvers' clothing did Monica Rambeau keep the entire time that Carol Danvers was missing and presumed dead?
So this is from the first Captain Marvel movie, not this one.
Yeah.
It's the leather bomber jacket.
You're right.
They got the ketchup stains out of it.
That is correct. I got this one. What type of animals does Melina Vostokov experiment on with mind control at her farm?
Okay, I know the general answer, which is pig. I hope it's not more specific than that.
It's pigs.
Just pigs.
Multiple.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I did write down.
You got it right. 2 for 2.
All right.
What team is Timothy Dum Dum Dugan a member of in Captain America: The First Avengers?
I wish I knew this one. I should know it. I know exactly who the character is.
When you hear it, you'll know.
I know. I can't think of the name of the team name that they came up for themselves. Like, it's not the Revengers, but it's. I don't know. I don't have a good guess.
The Howling Commandos.
Oh yeah, I never would have come up with that.
Okay. I think they don't mention it that often in the first Avengers.
No, but they do make kind of a big deal out of it. It's not some totally random bit of trivia.
Yeah.
Okay.
What medal does Colonel James Rhodes say that General Ross has one more of than Sam Wilson?
I don't know dick about medals, and I'm sorry. I'm going to guess. Is Bronze Star a thing?
I think it is, but it's
Okay.
I would have thought you'd have guessed Medal of Honor because that's what it was.
Oh yeah, that would have made sense. But I think maybe I was like, can you get more than one Medal of Honor? I guess so.
You're 2 for 4 so far.
Yeah, that's okay. I knew those 2 in the middle. I didn't have.
I think you're going to know the next 2 anyway.
I think so. I better.
What is a theoretical connection between the different points of space-time called?
If it's not Jump Point, then it's Wormhole. But I think they're
Oh
looking for
no,
Jump Point.
they're looking for Natalie Portman and the Einstein Rosen
Oh, are they
Bridge.
really?
Yeah, that's what it
Oh,
was.
damn.
The
Okay.
Einstein Rosen Bridge.
All right. Well, I guess I lose. But, theatrical connection for two different. All right. Well, I feel like that could have been answered in multiple ways, but I will accept that.
It's MCU physics.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I guess theoretical connection is what should have clued me in, because a jump point is an actual connection. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I
All right.
lose, but I'll answer this last one.
What type of body parts does Rocket often collect?
Eyes.
Oh, he wanted Bucky's arm too.
Oh, what type of body parts? So is it arm or is it
No.
eyes? Okay, it's eyes,
It's
right?
neither.
What is it?
So I would have gotten this wrong because I put down arms, but it was actually cybernetic.
Oh,
Cybernetic body parts are what he collects.
Yep. Okay,
Yeah,
that does cover everything. Wow. All right. Well, I was very, very confident going into that,
yeah.
and I am now very humbled. Well, that's it for the Marvels. Next up for Series 1, we have Deadpool and Wolverine from July 26, 2024.
Ooh. Okay, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that was our first quick take. So this is the first time
Yeah.
we're revisiting a movie, which means that we've discussed every MCU movie in some form now.
Oh wow. You're right. Because we have the quick take started.
We've either done a quick take or we've done well. Actually, by the time this comes out, no, Fantastic Four will not be out yet. Okay, so as of right now, we've discussed them all. So we're almost caught up. We'll be doing more Series 2 soon, and we'll maintain Series 1. Eventually, we'll do even more series, I'm sure. We're not short on ideas, but we're short on time.
Yeah.
I'm still going to aim for every other week, keep the same.
Yeah, I'm totally fine.
Cool. All right. So if you want to contact us, you can email us at absolutelythebestpodcast@gmail.com. Join our Discord. There's a link in the show notes. You should do it. Join our Discord. Actually do it. It's fun. We got a few people who hang out there. And
Yes.
I don't know, George and I will post dumb shit in there all the time.
Go off on random things.
Yeah. And a few other people go off on random things too. So I would like to have a few more people there. So do it. We also have links in our show notes to our socials and a couple ways you can help support the show. Leave us a review. Please help us spread the word. Sing it to your friends, sing it to your grandma, and sing it to your friend's grandma. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.
Bye.
Absolutely the Best Podcast is a production of Audio Johnny, a subsidy of Corporation Johnny.
Corporation Johnny. If it exists, we own it.
All right. Do you want to do Last of Us?
Oh, yeah, let me keep recording then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not watch today's episode yet. The
Well,
finale.
today's
Did you
episode
already watch it?
No, it's not out yet. Not till 6.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and I don't think I'm gonna have time to watch it tonight, or possibly not even tomorrow. It's gonna kill me. Yeah. All right. So
did I really spoil it for you when I pinged you?
No. I'd already seen it.
Okay.
but I was like, good thing I saw it. Season 5, episode 5. I love this opening. This was great.
How did it open again?
It was like the Commander Park or something. The Korean lady. And she's just like chain smoking cigarettes, which I haven't smoked in, I don't know, 25 years. And that made me want to smoke a cigarette. But her and the other lady, the ladies question her about like what happened in the basement.
Yeah.
That was great, man. Like that was really good. It wasn't clear to me when in the timeline it was. Like, was it 2 weeks ago? Was it 2 months ago? Was it 2 years ago? I don't know. It didn't really say.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, it's unclear, but regardless, do not go into the basement was what we got. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. So, and then she has to seal off the basement because there's spores that were infecting people. And then like, yeah, at the end of that scene, she's like, I'm sorry about your son. It's like, oh, fuck, she had to like lock her son down there. Like, yikes. So yeah, she didn't just like chicken out or anything. She thought hard about that one.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Oh, do you listen to the podcast for the show?
Afterwards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they said that. So I thought that maybe that scene was more or less present day, but then in the podcast they're like, in the next scene we're back in 2029 Seattle. I was like, okay.
Oh, so
like when?
It was a long time ago.
Well, I don't know. Like they didn't say.
Yeah.
But then, so my confusion only continues because then, like later on, at the end of the episode, when Ellie chases Nora down there, right?
Yeah.
There's the guy is still alive, like her son, Park's son is still alive, quote unquote. Like he's.
I thought he was just breathing the spores out. He was basically a spore farm.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess it doesn't look like he's been down there 5 years or 10 years or whatever, right? So I feel like it hasn't been that long, but I could have used a little clarity there. Also, with if the spores are in the air, everybody is fucked.
But that's what I'm saying. Is like, when it mutates like that, would it? I mean, science-wise, would it only be the species of that thing in the basement that would have it?
I don't know. Again, that's biology, and that is not my thing. But maybe. I also thought it was interesting that the lady who was interviewing Park, she's like, well, it's not in the vents. So, we can just leave it sealed off. I was like, it's not in the vents now, but it doesn't mean you're good forever. It's like, move that fucking hospital.
It's not like a hermetically sealed basement. Like,
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I would have moved that hospital. And I don't know why I should have seen it coming. I should have known that they were going to end up in that at the end of this episode, but.
Oh yeah.
But that was cool. I also thought I thought this was an interesting contrast. Park sacrificed her son to save everyone else, right? Whereas Joel killed everyone in that hospital to save Ellie, potentially dooming everyone else because she, was potentially could have been the cure for cordyceps.
But her son was a goner, though. I think that's the difference.
Yeah,
he'd already inhaled it, and he was the one that was like, "You need to seal us."
Yeah, fair
seal
enough.
us down here, right?
Yeah. Okay. She's not that great.
Yeah, I was like, she just made the call that she had.
Yeah, that scene. Yeah, that scene was great though, man. I really like that opening.
Yeah, I do love that whole like, oh, I'm sorry about your son, and I like how they were just playing it off like he was the best. He was one of their best men,
right?
And then they revealed,
like, I was like, maybe it was her husband, which would suck, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's not the same as when it's your kid.
Oh.
I say, then there's Dina and Ellie planning. I don't think it was particularly smart for Ellie to have turned all the lights on in that building, just advertising that there's people there. But that didn't seem to be a problem.
They're so careful everywhere else, and then they turned on the lights.
Yes. Well, I mean, they're like stupid with love right now. I know how that goes. I remember those days when you're like, when you're a kid and your body is being overrun with hormones. You don't make great decisions.
Yeah, no, fair. I was gonna be like, well, now that Ellie knows that she's pregnant, then wouldn't she want to protect her?
She's just not
even more paranoid.
She's just not thinking. She's like, check out what I can do.
Yeah, it's true.
What did you think about another guitar performance in this?
I like the first one better.
Yeah, she didn't really do the whole thing, right? The whole song in this one. I didn't. I was just like, no, you can't do it again. You cannot keep going back to the same thing so soon too. And she only tuned 2 strings. That really bothered me.
It was back to back, right? Because it was in the previous episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I thought it was also funny when Dina tells Ellie, she's like, Nora should be on the first floor west wing or something like that. I was like, how the fuck does she know that? And Ellie's like, how the fuck do you know that? Which I forget how she knew that. But I think it was like,
she'd gone over the blueprints or something, or
I think the wolves just talk openly on the CB because they don't expect anybody else to be there over overhearing them. I think
Yeah.
that's what it was. See, then they get in the shit. They're in that. They were like gonna hide out in some abandoned building or something to let the patrol go by. I think something like that.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of the
smart ones.
the stalkers, I think they call them.
Yeah.
And then I kind of didn't like that Jesse shows up out of nowhere and saves the girls. I don't know. It was a little bit too. I don't want to say white knight because he's not white, but
Yeah.
and I have to assume that he was already on the way. Oh, I guess he was.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah, he says that, but then he says that he found their map, and that's how he knew where to find them specifically because they had like marked that on the map. Like, why didn't they take the map with them though?
Oh, right, because they remember they had it pinned on the wall or something.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they didn't just take it with them.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it goes back to the same reason why Ellie turned all the lights on in that place.
Right.
Although I will say that since she turned those lights on, maybe that's why Jesse checked that building. So that would, I guess, make sense.
Yeah.
Then they went in. They hide out in that park, and for like a little bit, it kind of reminded me of the fire swamp scene in The Princess Bride.
Oh,
like they're just trying
the
to
RUSSs.
Yeah. Until it didn't when they see that guy get hung and disemboweled.
Yeah.
Oof. That's not
brutal.
fun. Yeah. Ellie goes to the hospital to find Nora, right? I don't really know how I guess everybody else was distracted. I'm not sure. It wasn't clear to me. She just was suddenly there. So
Yep.
I had a little bit of a problem with her being just suddenly there.
I thought she was like trying to. They separated, and did what's his face go with Dina?
Yeah.
And then she was trying to be like bait or something.
Yeah. So I guess she just ran out of there and then went to the hospital. I don't know.
Yeah.
But in my notes I wrote down, "Oh man, Nora's gonna fuck around in the basement and find out." I don't know.
And she did.
Yeah, that was a bad move. So then, you see that the guys down there, the breathing spores.
Yeah, that was a cool effect. I liked.
It was really cool, but
it.
They showed that in the the previous episode at the end. Like they show the preview for the next week. They shouldn't.
Oh, I never watched the preview. Yeah, I never watched the previews.
I shouldn't have. And I was like, at the end of the next episode, I was dying to know. Like, I gotta give me something on the finale, and they didn't actually have anything. So I was like, okay,
yeah.
Oh, I liked how Ellie was. So Nora's like, that he, like, speaking about Joel, she's like, that he killed everybody there in that hospital, and she was just like, yeah, and then and Nora's like, you're the girl, you're the one who's who's immune. She's like, yeah.
When she was like, oh shit, that's you. You're the.
That was cool. I kind of always figured that Ellie knew that Joel killed everyone, and it wasn't Raiders or whatever he had said.
Yeah.
Or I had at least figured
the next
it out,
episode?
Yeah,
she
in the
says
next episode they explain it. Yeah.
Like she always had that feeling, right? Like it's just a weird explanation that a bunch of other people were immune too, and the world still sucks because no one's found a cure.
So then let's see what else I have on this one. Oh, how is Ellie gonna get out of there though? Because it's not like the wolves are gonna like just let her walk out. Like she went in through that elevator shaft. How's she gonna get out? Right.
I mean, I figure she's gonna find another way out.
I
wonder if she's gonna get another way out, and then maybe the vents, because they didn't seal the.
Oh, maybe. I hope they explain that though, because they didn't show it. Like suddenly she's just out and she's like running off in the rain.
Yeah.
And then it's the next episode. So I don't know. I felt there was a lot to that episode to like, but there was some weird character choices and some unexplained things that I was a little bit bummed with. I was like, is this show starting to falter? And then they showed so I watched the preview. Oh no, sorry. At the very end, it wasn't even the preview. At the very end, they show her waking up. That's what it was. I'm confusing the end of the two episodes. At the end of this one, at the end of this episode, she's like beating Nora to death in the basement. And I'm like, how's she going to get out of there? And then the next scene, they show her waking up in bed and Joel's like morning sunshine or something like that.
Oh, right. So she hasn't gotten out yet.
Right. She hadn't gotten out yet.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like super confused. I was like, what is, I was like, is this going to be some weird, like hallucination or something? I was like, I was
Yeah.
really concerned about this next episode, but it turned out to be a really good episode.
Oh man, no, it was great.
Yeah.
The just the I really I really like Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Like
He's
every
great.
time I see scenes like episodes like this one, I'm just like, damn, they were a good pair.
Yeah. And then it starts with another great actor. I got Tony Dalton playing his dad, Pedro Pascal's
Yeah.
dad, and it's like 1985. If you don't recall, he's in Hawkeye and the Daredevil Born Again series and Better Call Saul.
Yep.
I really like that. That was another strong opening. That was good.
Yeah, I love the line. Maybe when you have one of your own,
Yeah. Yeah.
you'll do better than I did.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of the thesis for the episode, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
he's trying to do a little better.
because Ellie's gonna have a kid soon with Dina.
Yeah. Yeah. Then it goes forward in time to just a few years back, if that makes sense. And we get a little backstory on Seth. No surprise that he was a cop. And then another fucking song. I hope there's not one in the finale. I'm tired of it. It was great on the first time
They
that
should
Ellie
have
did it.
stopped with
They
that
should have
one
stopped there,
time.
right? I thought this was bad. I thought Pedro Pascal's singing was bad. I am sorry, Pedro Pascal. I'm a huge fan and I love you.
Yeah.
This was not good. And I don't like the song. And to be fair, I like Pearl Jam's. I don't like Pearl Jam. They stopped being good in 1998. And it was, a steady downhill decline from 92 to 98, if you ask me.
What were their bigger hit? Was it Jeremy? Was that their
Yeah.
biggest hit?
That's probably one of their biggest ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Even Flow, like that album's
Oh, Even
great.
Flow was great. Yeah.
But but people still love Pearl Jam and they love Eddie Vedder. And I don't get it anymore. It doesn't make sense to me. Have you heard his ukulele album? I haven't listened to the whole thing, but I've heard
No.
it. But he has a ukulele album.
Do people like that one?
Yes, and it's fucking noise. It's so bad.
Oh.
Like a ukulele is horrible. Don't make
I'm
a whole
generally
album.
not a fan of ukuleles.
Yeah, no.
Ukulele performances.
No. Anyways,
Huh.
so I end up skipping ahead. I've never do that. I skipped ahead during this
Yeah.
song performance. And then I skipped ahead more during like the whole launch thing where he takes her to the
the space
museum.
thing. Yeah, the museum.
And they're like pretending that she's being an astronaut, and like it
Yeah.
was cute and all, but I was kind of fed up at that point.
If it didn't have the guitar scene,
I probably would have
sat through it.
stuck. Yeah, and at that point, so I had been staying up late for me to watch the show at night, and I was just like, I'm not staying up for this. I turned it off at that point. But I finished it the next day, and let's see, it picks up. It starts getting better there. Joel walks in on Ellie making out with a girl who was giving her a tattoo and smoking pot with her. So it's kind of a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like a year later, right?
Yeah.
It's her next birthday.
Yeah, because he's like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Oh my god, is Joel a homophobe?" I was like, "Well, I mean, she's getting a tattoo and making out with a significantly older woman and smoking pot." It's like,
yeah.
Okay, I don't think it's about her being gay.
I mean, I think it's in his head. It was like such a contrast to last year's birthday party.
Yes, and he comes around. He becomes reasonable, and he's like, "Okay, you need your own space. Let me set that up for you." So
yeah,
and then let's see. Oh, and then they're out. He takes her on her first patrol, right? And there's a call on the radio that like Eugene is in trouble. I was like, "Yes, finally," because there was the episode. It was like 3 episodes ago. When her and it was the second episode, I think. Her and Justin were hiding out for a bit because it was too cold, and where Eugene used to be, and they said something about Eugene. I'm like, who the fuck is Eugene?
That's right. That's where his one of his safe places, right?
Yeah. Who's growing a bunch of pot in that place? So
yeah.
And then we find out, and it's Joey Pants, Joe Pantoliano.
Dude, he did such a great job as Eugene.
He is great. Yes, so good.
Yeah.
But he had gotten bit, and he wants Ellie and Joel to take him back so he can
say bye.
speak to his wife. one last time. Yeah. And then so Joel sends Ellie for the horses, promises that he's not gonna kill Eugene. And I was like, oh, he's gonna kill Eugene. As soon as he said I promise, I was like, oh, he's gonna kill her. That's why she's pissed, right?
Yeah. Well, he's like he's pretty much ruthless about defending and making sure that nothing happens to the settlement.
Yeah.
Right.
But he shouldn't have promised. He shouldn't have promised.
He
You
shouldn't
can't
have
use
promised
those.
her.
You can't use those words lightly.
Yeah.
So yeah, he ends up killing Joey Pants. I did like it when Eugene's like, he's like, last words for me. No, he's like, I need her last words to me. You know, he needed. You know,
That's such good dialogue.
Yes. Yeah. It was a really good scene. And so it was around this point when I was like, okay, maybe I should have stayed up and finished it the first night. But then he's so you know, Joel's trying to calm him down. He's like, you know, picture her face, right? I thought it was a really good artistic choice to not hear the gunshot. Like the camera pulls way back, and
right.
you see the lake, and then you see all the birds flying away.
Birds. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, was that from the gunshot? Right. So I thought that was cool. I like that. Didn't need it, but I thought it was really neat.
Yep.
Let's see. So yeah. So now it makes sense why Ellie is so pissed at Joel. I'm Team Ellie on this one. He shouldn't have promised.
Yeah.
But then she rats him out.
She does.
Man, I did not
totally counters everything. And the sad thing was, I forget the psychiatrist's name.
Gail.
Gail. The sad thing was she was totally buying it, and she was like hugging Joel and everything.
Yeah.
And then Ellie's like, "That's not how it happened."
Yes. I was like, no, don't do that. Man. Yeah. So that was
lying to you.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Again, she's like 17, 18, 16, something like that. Yeah. So I don't know. You don't make the best choices, but
I think when you're young, when you're that young, I do remember it just thinking things were just black and white. It's either right or it's wrong.
Yeah.
And in her head, it was just wrong.
She could have blackmailed him though.
No, I don't think that they had that kind of relationship where she didn't like him so much that she would blackmail him.
Yeah. So I had to take a break at some point. It was probably around this point. And I had to drive my mother-in-law somewhere, and I was listening to podcasts, and the next one that came on was the Last of Us podcast.
Oh,
and they open with the quote of Ellie going, something about her. She's like, you had that same look when you promised. I was like, fuck, like I didn't see
so they
that
ruined it for you.
That's the opening part of the podcast, and then they're like, spoilers ahead. I was like, you just had a spoiler.
You should have said that first.
So I was like, God damn it. I was like minutes away from just finishing this episode. Yeah. But anyways, I love that scene. That was cool. That was really good.
Yeah.
I like how that all came together. And I was getting choked up when Ellie was questioning Joel about what happened. Were there raiders? Are there other people with
it's your last chance?
Yeah.
Do not lie to me. I can tell now. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. So that was good. And then at the very end, they show Ellie out in the rain. So she had clearly gotten out of the basement. And I guess she's going after Abby, but I don't know. And I really, besides how she got out of the basement, I want to know what's on level B3, because they laid that. I don't think we're going to get it this season though. But they better not leave that dangling thread, because if B2 is that bad.
Do you want to hear a potential spoiler for season 3?
Sure.
Yeah, so supposedly, so you know how like episode or season 1 was kind of all a lot from Joel's perspective,
right?
And then season 2, this has all been Ellie.
Yep.
So season 3 is apparently going to be all Abby.
Oh, that's interesting. So she's not dying this season. Okay, interesting. All right.
Yeah, because, I mean, if any, Abby and Ellie are kind of this two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Right. They're just both vengeance filled right now.
Yes.
And so,
man, yeah, Ellie's definitely got the vengeance going.
Yeah. See, I kind of, it sucks that the that the singing in the beginning threw you off on this one, because I was okay with it, because I thought maybe they were doing it intentionally bad so that it could showcase how much better Ellie had gotten because of his tutelage and stuff. But
Mhm.
that whole scene in the beginning where she was back to being this happy kid, like the happy schmarmy,
Yeah.
sarcastic kid that she was in season one, it was, I don't know, part of me was just like, man, she's a great actress. Like how she's back as like this wide-eyed, super I love space, like just such an optimistic sound looking kid, despite everything. And then you see this juxtaposition to this like very ruthless, like I'm gonna kill everybody for killing Joel.
Yeah.
And then this whole part where she's like, I doubt, I knew something was up, and I knew, and like I saw that fucking look on your face the day that you told me you know, Raiders came.
Yeah.
Like, like they're like two sides. Like just she's so good at like just switching it up. And yeah, I just really like this episode. I was definitely tearing up when Joel was just very visibly tearing up and just
Yeah.
saying yes. And then he did a whole speech that ended with the same line his dad gave him. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it was a great episode. I was much happier with that than I was with the previous
The
episode
previous
had
one.
cool stuff. But just there was a few things in it where I was like, I don't know about this. So,
Yeah. I think it's the what's his face just coming in out of nowhere to save the day when they look
yeah.
like they were genuinely fighting.
Yes.
I won't spoil the finale.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna have time to watch it today or even tomorrow. So I'll
Yeah.
let you know when I've seen it.
Sounds good.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, later, man.
All right.
I'll stop this now.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.